Hey, bro.
Savage Mode 2.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy KCB. We got another one today. We're gonna be making some dark melodies for 21 Savage. This kind of works out perfect because I've been working on some dark loops anyway, and they dropped the Savage Mode 2 trailer, maybe 3 or 4 days ago now. So that's awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and make some dark melodies for 21 Savage. We're all ready. We got the check here. We got the Halloweenish shirt good. So got that on check. So we're all good to go. So let's go ahead and whip up some dark melodies. What's good, y'all? It's your boy KCB. So today we're going to be making some dark melodies for 21 Savage. Maybe something that you might hear on like Savage Mode 2 that drops this Friday. Kind of works out perfect because they dropped that trailer, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 days ago now. And I was actually already making a like a dark loop kit that I'm working on now called the Lost Soul Loop Kit. So today I'm going to go over like how you would make a dark melody for 21 Savage, like certain sounds you would use, melody patterns, all of that. So I actually started making one right here, so we're gonna dive right into this here. So one of the biggest things in these melodies is sound selection. Like if you don't have anything that kind of gives this kind of ominous feel, it's gonna be real hard to make a melody that sounds like this. Of course, there's free plugins that have it. Like the one I'm using is the Spitfire Labs, which has actually a lot of different instruments you can make sound really dark. So I'd recommend getting the Spitfire Audio Labs for that. There's lots of other plugins that are free out there that have some really cool stuff on it. Like I actually used, not in this melody here, but in another one from the Twisted Energy. It's like just a synth that has like several dark settings that are just really unique. So I would just go ahead and find some different plugins that you can kind of play around with and make some dark sounds. So that's one of the first things. Second is you're going to want to do a minor scale usually, because minor a lot of times is going to make it sound just a bit more dark. And usually my favorite scale to do is, if you go to scale highlighting, I go to the Phrygian scale. Phrygian scale, I've played around with a lot of different scales, and this is definitely the scale that I use the most when it comes to dark melodies. So I recommend that scale, but you can use some of the other minor scales as well. So we're doing C sharp minor Phrygian scale today. So first I went to the Labs plugin and I picked out something called the Tape Warps Major. So it's actually a really interesting sound that I'm going to use kind of as like my background. And so this is what that sounds like. So like that's a really unique sound there, gives a great ambient, ominous vibe already. So we're doing just some really simple notes here. I mean, we're not even doing, chords or anything like that for this. Whatever you are using, if the sound, it's not as strong as you'd like, you can of course, add different octaves to it or make chords. So we're just going to start out with that. Now with these melodies, I like to layer them with quite a few different sounds. So from there, so that's like my real deep kind of ominous sound. The next one, I'll kind of pick a sound that's somewhat similar but has a little bit more of a high end. So for this one, I picked, let's see here, this bell here, which sounds like this. Give me 1 second. So a bell, it sounds like that, and so the melody that we did for this one is... So same as the other sound there, but when we have those two together, you can hear... So that's a great bass right there. So you can see how those two work together. They don't clash. And when I go ahead and EQ these melodies, so like this is my real low end here. Like I actually lowered it even more because when you throw an 808 on, sometimes it clashes, but you can go higher if you're not going to use, you know, a big 808 or anything like that. But so I have that. And then see, I EQ'd the other bell just slightly to where it's a little bit ahead of the other, so it won't kind of clash as much, because when you do layer sounds you will have some clashing, so you can just kind of EQ and work around that. So that's those two. And usually from there I like to go ahead and add a higher end melody, something that's faster and going to give it more of a bounce. So bells are great for like these dark, ominous melodies here. So I just went ahead and went to Labs again and got the Resonator music box. This is a great one. There's also some hand bells and ghost bells on here that sound really cool. But we use the music box for this one and for this melody here. So pretty much a lot faster of a melody here, and the notes I kind of tied together because you know, for this type of a melody sometimes you just want it to flow together a little bit more than hit exactly where it does, because sometimes it just doesn't really give, you know, sometimes it doesn't fit with like your other kind of ominous ambient types. So so this melody here, so this one by itself sounds like this. So like that, and then I just kind of EQ'd it, kind of avoid some of the other sounds there, and I want a little bit more high end, but there's some very end here I don't want, so I just kind of limited that. Added reverb, sound goodizer, about how super massive. This is what I use on a lot of different dark melodies. Just a soft clipper. So with those three together, sounds like this. And so other than that, I added two other sounds. One is actually just like a high-end, just a piano that's a similar melody to the bells. So. And then besides that, the only other thing I added, which can't really hear it that well, but it's still enough to where you can hear it, because with these melodies, when you're layering, if it's a sound that you can't hear with the other melodies, you can't hear it at all, you might as well just take it out, because it's probably conflicting with the other melodies. But if it's something where you can even hear it just a little bit and it doesn't clash, but it adds to it, then, you know, that's great. You can keep it in. That's always one thing to keep in mind with melodies, though, is that if you can't hear it, you might as well just take it out. So this is the last little sound I added. So with all of those sounds we added together, this is what that melody sounds like. And so that's our melody loop. So it's not super complicated. It's layering, you know, some different sounds, making sure you have the right sounds for it. And then I kind of do, you know, somewhat of like a slower melody, then a higher end kind of faster melody. Doesn't have to be fast. I mean, it can be, you know, whatever you'd like. Or sometimes I'll make a fast melody and then use gross beat, like a half speed on it to slow it down a bit. So those are great options for that. And so, I mean, with this, you know, with the melody like this, you know, when you do the drums on there, you don't have to go super complex. Like, so for this, I just literally threw some on here real quick just to have like an example of what a beat with this melody would sound like. So that's going to be like this. So pretty dope. I mean, you can kind of hear some, some Savage Mode vibes and that. So from there, so when you make a melody, let's say like, we just made this melody here. If you've never done it before, so like let's say you want to make your own loop, like you want to use this loop and send it out to other people, or use it on another beat. What you could do is, so make sure you have all your sounds there, and then you can just go to your Edison, and then you can go, so in the Edison there, you can just go to tune loop, make sure the song position is at the start. So yeah, tune loop, you record your melody. I'll cut it, you usually see where the end cuts, so right about here. It cuts about there, so I'll cut this off, cut the other end, send it into playlist, and so there we go. So then you have your loop right there. So that's your loop right there, and so yeah, that's how you would make a dark melody and then record it. So then from there you can do whatever you want with it, send it out, whatever. So that's one right there. So now we're gonna go ahead and look at let's see here. We're gonna look at a different melody that I made a little bit earlier, because like I said, I've been making a bunch of dark loops. So we're gonna go ahead and just kind of run through one of those. Give me a second. Alright, so we're taking another look at another dark melody here. So this one I used the Twisted Energy plugin, which I talked about a little bit before, because this is one that, I mean, like, no one's going to use this. This is a really random one I got from Plugin Boutique. It's free. It doesn't have a crazy amount of presets on it, but it has a couple that are really unique, and I knew I could make a really cool dark melody with. So for this one, I picked a preset called the Dark Side of the Moon. And so I just kind of did similar to what I did with like the other melody for the background, except this time I shortened it, because with this this plugin, it has some of the synths have like a long delay or something that I adjusted a little bit, but I decided to cut the notes a little bit. This is what that background sounds like. So, I mean, just that right there, super unique sound. I mean, it's going to be hard to find something like that anywhere else. So that's why I recommend like looking into plugins that maybe you haven't looked at before, because, if you find something like that, you throw it in. Someone's like, wow, how'd you make that? It was literally just one note there. So I would go ahead, look for some unique plugins. That's like, some secret sauce tip on this, because yeah, everyone's going to wonder like, hey, where'd you get that? Or how'd you make that? So that's one sound there. And so the next sound, I use Labs again. Let's see on this one. So I use the Moon guitar. So there's Moon guitar. There's like a mandolin, some other cool strings in there that you can use for these dark melodies. So with this one, I just kind of took that Moon guitar and let's see, added, I think I did probably a Lo-Fi Maximus, Valhalla Supermassive from Reverb and EQ. And then kind of same deal. So I did do some chords with this one. But then I did just kind of a faster high melody there. And so then I just kind of altered, randomized the note velocity. And so this is what just that one sounds like by itself. So here's the two together. So pretty dope right there. And then one thing you can do, I talked about a little bit before, but I'll show you guys, is you can go to gross beat, you can go to momentary, half speed, and so this is what that that moon guitar sounds like with that half speed on it. So different but dope. I mean, I actually went ahead and made 2 loops when I made this one. I went ahead and just made the one I just showed you, and then I went ahead and made the other one. So like, here's the first one we just did. And then here's the other one. So yeah, so that's how you make, another similar dark melody to that. But really, I mean, the main key here is going to be just sound selection. I would say that's number one, because I've taken, like some of these midis and tried to use them with other sounds, and if the sound just isn't there, it's not going to give that dark vibe to it. So sound selection number one, I would say, key and scale probably number two. And then after that, depending on if you want faster or slower melody, you can of course, choose from there. But those are just the tips that I use for those. So like, here's some of the other like dark melodies I've made here real recently. I love this one, real creepy one I made. Just throw this on go to a haunted house, loop or something. Here's the one that we made. So yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the process I use to make these dark melodies. So yeah, I will be dropping the Lost Soul loop kit sometime in October. I'm thinking maybe mid-October or so, just so you guys can have it in time for Halloween. So that's how I go ahead, make those dope melodies. Hope you guys learned something today. If you did, hit that sub, like, comment, all that. There's going to be a lot more videos dropping soon. So that was the video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and until next time, y'all.